Coach Lubick is here, and Coach Chinander will be right behind him. So we'll go ahead and get started. Mitch Sherman. All right, we'll go to Parker Gabriel. Parker?
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I wanted to ask you, with the news that Brendan was opting out, just about Turner Corcoran and if he is involved in your plans for this weekend, and then just what you've seen from him. Obviously, as a young guy, it's not easy to be in position to play offensive line in the Big Ten.
You betcha. Yeah, no, we think he's going to be a great player. When we recruited him, we thought the same thing, and he's kind of surpassed our expectations, and we're excited. We wish Jaime the best, and he's got to do what's best for him. We completely get that, but this is a great opportunity for Turner, and I think he's going to make the most of it.
What have you seen from him? Obviously, he was a highly regarded kid in high school, but what has he shown you? How has he exceeded your expectations since he's been on campus?
Sure. He's talented. He's big and strong and tough, which need to be on the offensive line. He has good feet, and he cares. It's important to him, and so that's the biggest thing as a freshman is how fast can you learn it and play with confidence. And he's done a great job with that. And we were trying to get him in more and more as the season was going, but now it's getting sped up a little bit, and we're excited about it. I know he's excited about the opportunity.
Sam McEwen.
Hey, Matt, what's your understanding of why Hymus decided to leave before the Rutgers game?
I don't know that, to be honest with you. It's his decision. We get it. I'm sure it has to do with draft preparation and what he thinks will help him be the most successful. And so we really do. We wish him the best. And then for us, it gives us an opportunity to get Turner going, and Banks going and getting some guys some more reps. And so there's always a silver lining. And again, I can't emphasize enough. We wish him the best.
So Banks is the backup there at left tackle?
Yes. Yeah, and we can always rotate guys around. We cross-train guys so we can plug and play.
What have you ever had an offensive line in your career that started three freshmen?
I did once. My first coordinator job at Oregon, I think we actually started four freshmen, not by choice. Kind of the same thing. We had a couple guys get hurt, and we had a young freshman, Justin Herbert, who made those guys look pretty good, who helped the cause. But it's a challenge. The biggest thing though, those guys are going to get better with experience, and we know that. And the way we practice, they've got a lot of reps. They've been in our two deep this whole time, and so it's not like they don't. They know what they're doing. They just need reps. They just need to go play, and we're excited to watch them.
Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, I'm just curious, with the game now at night and then the weather obviously taking quite a turnout in Rutgers, how much will you guys have to really measure the elements and kind of what you're walking into and what's going to work and what's not going to work, and kind of try to figure that stuff out in pregame warm-ups on Friday?
Sure. We're used to the cold living in Nebraska, and I know it's going to be cold or snowy there, but we practice a lot outside. I think that's helped our guys. It's kind of a mindset. The last game against Minnesota wasn't bad. It was kind of cold, windy, but I know our guys have been used to getting outside and doing that. So I don't think it'll phase us that much. The fact that the game time just changed on us, that's not a big deal. I mean, both teams have to deal with it. And so, that kind of is what it is. We've played night games before, so it's just, for us, it gives you a little more opportunity to get a little more rest, to maybe dial up a couple more meetings, a couple more walkthroughs, last-minute tips and tests. Because this is a short week. Usually you play on a Saturday, so we're a day short of practice. And again, Rutgers, they have the exact same things. We're both in the same boat, but I don't really think it'll affect our preparation that much.
Lincoln Journal-Star, Steve Sipple.
Hey, Coach, I asked Scott this yesterday, but getting into a little more detail now about that young offensive line and what it faces against Rutgers. I thought against Michigan, they looked pretty active. How are they up front?
They're good. I mean, this is a really good defense, and they're strong up front. They're physical. They've created a lot of negative plays, which that'll be a big challenge for us. We got to keep it simple for our guys. Let them play. That's what they're not thinking, and do the stuff that we do well. These guys they play fast too and hard, which is a testament to their coaching. It's a testament to their players, and we got a ton of respect for them. So it's going to be a huge challenge.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Looks like we got one more for Coach Evan Bland, World Herald.
Hey, Matt, I know Coach Frost last week had said a lot of great practices that didn't necessarily translate into the game. How would you, assess or evaluate how the practices have gone so far this week?
They've gone good. That was a frustrating thing last week. So we really did thought going into the game we had some of our best practices we've had up until the year, and guys were into it. And at the end of the day, they made more plays than us and outplayed us, and we didn't execute as good as we need to execute. This week, you always worry how guys are going to come in after a loss. Are they going to let just a little negativity seep in, or is there going to be a lack of effort? And that has not been the case. I mean, our guys they're really good kids. They just want to compete and play. They're excited about another opportunity to play, and the effort's been there and the execution's been there. And so now the big thing is, and I know all the media and fans are worried about, we got to execute on Saturday, and we're worried about it as well.
All right, that's all I got here for Coach. So thanks, Coach, and we'll have Coach Chinander shortly. All right, we'll move on to Coach Chinander. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat. We can start with Sam McEwen.
Sorry, my computer froze there for a second. How you doing, Coach? Do you get the sense that your defense is, still pretty tight together? It feels like, even though there were some plays on Saturday that I'm sure you'd love to have back, it seems like the scheme's kind of holding up. But I wanted to ask about the handful of big plays that Minnesota had and what you thought may have triggered those.
Yeah, I thought the kids played a pretty good game, other than a couple big plays like you mentioned. Right now they're playing really solid defense the last few weeks. They're about, we talked to the guys, and you're 5 plays away from being, really, really good defensively. We talked about we need to get those 5 plays back. We need to figure out a way to not let those 5 plays happen, and then also we need to get the ball back a couple more times. And if you do that, then you're playing some really good football. As good as you can, you're gonna have a chance to win every football game. As far as why the plays happened, we just had, we had the front set wrong one time. We had a guy out of position another time. So it was more communication. It was more just a mistake that really the two run plays, the mistakes that happened just never really happened, and they did on that one, and it can't happen. But that's up to me too. I got to get those guys to make sure that they never make those errors and setting the things wrong. But you're 100% right. If we can find a way to limit those a couple big plays and get the ball back a couple more times, then we're really rolling.
Parker Gabriel, Journal Star.
Hey, Eric, I know each game's different, but the first 4 weeks, you guys were one of the worst statistically outfits on third down, and now the past 3 weeks, you've been one of the best in the country. Is there something that explains that turnaround, or what has gone better for you over the past 3 weeks?
No, I think I think there's a couple different factors. Number one, probably getting in less third and shorts, which really helps you. But the guys have done a great job on the third and shorts that we've had of operating, and I think the guys have a really good understanding. Right now, I know Sam talked about scheme, but they're feeling really comfortable in the system right now. We've kind of finally got the guys where they need to be. Probably, and once again, that's probably. I needed to get them in some different places earlier, but they're where they need to be right now, and guys are understanding what they need to do, showing some different looks and how the looks work together in the third down packages, whether you're going to show pressure and drop 8 or whether you're going to show coverage and bring some pressure. And they're also doing really well in the man coverage. Another huge piece in that third down puzzle is the pass rush is not always, sometimes you look at pass rush and you only look at generating sacks, but when I look at it, obviously I want to get sacks every time too, but when the pass rush is working together and that pocket's getting collapsed and that quarterback doesn't have an opportunity to run, that was hurting us a little bit earlier in the first part of the year, where we'd have some good coverage downfield and the quarterback was running for about 50 yards a game in the first 4 weeks, and we've limited that down quite a bit. So that's a contributing factor too. But there's a lot of factors that go into that thing, and I just think that they've been addressed, and the kids accepted the challenge I was put in front of them, and they've rose up to that.
Mitch Sherman.
Hey, Eric, how'd you feel Saturday for Cam Taylor-Britt, who's now had to miss a full game this year because of 2 penalties? And is there anything that you can do that you haven't done to try to prevent that, to guard against it? Just what's the strategy moving forward to avoid more of that?
Yeah, we sit around and talk about that, and I talk to some other people, around college football. It's a tough situation. I mean, the kid declares himself as a runner. That play, and once again, I'm not arguing calls. I'm not complaining. Those officials have a hard job. But that same play happens 5-6 other times in that same game, but the guy wasn't wearing a quarterback jersey. So when the quarterback gets out and runs, we've just got to be ultra conscious of taking our head out. I thought Cam led with his shoulder, and then we had some head-to-head afterwards. But the replay I got in the booth, I was like, man, they're going to call this thing because that was the replay they got. In real time, I think the officials did a good job. In real time, they did not throw a flag, and then it got buzzed down, and they decided it was one upstairs. But the unfortunate nature of this thing is it's really hard to be physical out there right now when you're worried about those hits. And what's going to happen is you're going to have to go ultra low, and unfortunately, there's going to be a lot more skill players with season-ending injuries. There's going to be a lot of ACLs. There's going to be a lot of those types of things because guys are going to be forced to go low all the time. And I think you're opening up more issues on safety, player safety, than you have already. I think there definitely need to be some player safety things addressed, and I think that they've addressed them, and they've done a good job with that. But I think now it's becoming so common to get a targeting foul that there's going to be other player safety issues that are going to come up because of it. But the bottom line is we're going to have to do a better job of tackling in the strike zone and taking our head out of the football play.
Sean Callahan.
Hey, Coach, on a short week, when you watch Rutgers and their coordinator, Sean Gleason, it looks like they do a lot of trick plays, gadget plays. How hard is that to prepare for with one less day? And what have you seen? I mean, do they typically do a few of those every game?
Yeah, they've got a pretty wide array of football plays, and whether you call them gadgets or tricks, but there's a lot of things where they're trying to take advantage of some schematic situations. They're going to make you defend 11 on 11 because they're going to run the quarterback. Some quarterback insert plays, whether it be power or counter, and the running back going the opposite way, which is kind of a new fad in college football. But they're going to make you defend the whole field, and they're going to make you use all 11 players. Thankfully, we see a little bit of that with our offense as well. So the principles behind it aren't new to our guys. Maybe the specific looks are something we need to get dialed up on the field and then walkthroughs. But the principles behind what's going on out there is not a complete shock to our guys. They've defended triple option football a lot, which this is becoming. It's people look at it as, I don't know, RPOs to me is triple option. There's still a dive, there's still a quarterback, there's still a pitch. He might be a slant, he might be in the curl, he might be in the flat. They're just doing more stuff. It's quarterback counter with the pitch player. It's quarterback power with the pitch player. So our guys have done a good job of adjusting to what we need to adjust within our scheme. But there's a lot of things that you need to be ready to defend, and your eyes have to be super clean, kind of like playing Purdue. You never know what you're going to get. Coach Braum has a ton of stuff that he likes to throw out there every week, and your eyes just got to be really clean. You got to do your job.
A couple more for Coach. Andy Kendi, KETV.
Hey, Coach, how has Garrett Nelson progressed this year compared to last year, and how much progress has he made?
Well, I think last year, obviously as a true freshman, he was, playing a lot off. He was learning football, but he was playing a lot off just, sheer will and intensity and those types of things to be out there and play football. I think he's done a really good job of developing his technique, developing his knowledge of the football game, learning what we need him to do specifically and taking the coaching and bringing it to the field. So I think his development has come a long way, and I think he's nowhere near playing the best football he'll play because he's so young. I think he's a true sophomore. He's got 2 or 3 years left that he can play, depending on what happens with this crazy year. But I think there's a lot of development in his future, and I think that he is a good football player. He's going to be a really, really good football player, if not a great one, by the time this thing's all said and done. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to work with Garrett.
Ryan Christopherson.
Hey, Eric, want to ask you a quick recruiting question with tomorrow being signing day. How tough in this cycle was the evaluation process, just with all the restrictions and stuff? I mean, as you kind of get to the end here, how would you frame up what this year's been like from a recruiting standpoint?
It's been just like everything else. It's been challenging, and we sit here and talk about how hard the recruiting is, but I know there's people in the country that are facing a lot worse stuff than we're going through, just not being able to meet kids. So I can't complain too much, but you're gonna, everyone in this recruiting cycle, hopefully you've met these kids at some point in time, and for the most part you do, but it was probably once when they were a junior or even younger. Without being able to see them recently, you just don't get to physically put your eyes on, what they look like as they've matured. You don't get to sit in a room and talk to them and really find out about them. Now, there's been a bunch of Zooms and those types of things, and obviously talking to their coaches and everybody around them. But the real truth of the matter is there's going to be kids around the country at every program that are probably going to sign a scholarship letter that have never been in a room with a coach. And, it is what it is. It had to be that way this year, but that's a little scary. I don't think any of us would probably marry somebody that we only met over Zoom, but some of that's got to go on, and it's just a necessity by the situation in the country. So it's been a challenge to get to know kids, and it's been a challenge for the kids too. Some of these guys are going to sign a letter of intent and go play football somewhere that they haven't been on campus or maybe only been on campus once. So it's a scary thing for all parties, but I think that the coaches and the players have made the best of a unfortunate situation, and we all had to do the same thing. So.
Thank you.
Last one for Coach Chinander, Steve Sipple, Journal Star.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, rule aside on Cam Taylor-Britt, what effect does that have on your defense when he's out? And I mean, is there any concern you have in the booth about the impact it has on the kids when he's unavailable now?
As far as what, Sip, you talking about just their makeup or their how it affected them mentally or scheme wise or?
Yeah, how it affects you scheme wise, but also mentally.
I think this is mentally first. I think this is a strong group. You know, it affected the game severely right there. I mean, we gave up a long play, and then we got to stop. They were going to come out for a field goal. It was going to be 14-13. Our offense was going to have 2 minutes left with 2 timeouts. All of a sudden, you know, they get that penalty, and we get a new fresh set of sticks, and they end up scoring a touchdown and eats a minute off the clock. So you're potentially talking about an 11-point swing. You know, so that was the crucial moment in the game. As far as mentally, I think, you know, the kids were upset more upset that Cam had to or that he doesn't get to play the rest of that game. Our kids have been great. They've been pretty resilient. They haven't backed down. So I think they were more upset for him, and they started playing for him. And as far as schematically, it doesn't really do much to me other than you know, just making sure guys are in the right spots and who's. It's more about getting your depth chart ready about if you lose somebody else, where do you go from there, who's going where. But scheme-wise, we get a lot of practice with our twos, and I have a lot of trust in Quentin Newsome. He went in the football game and played a good football game after Cam Taylor was out. So you practice what you practice. We can do some things to help out a guy that you know gets in there that you know maybe we don't feel great about, but I felt really good about Q coming in there. So we didn't change a lot schematically, but you know the mental part of it, you know, it's hard for Cam and it's hard for the kids, but I thought they fought through it pretty good.
With Reimer out, Henrik got a lot of action. How did he hold up in the middle?
He played a really good football game, you know, and you know hats off to Nick for you know playing outside backer and then back to inside backer and then basically becoming a starter in that game when Luke got knocked out. You know, so I thought Nick did a tremendous job. He was physical. He played hard. He got us in the right things most of the time. And I thought he had a good football game. I think the future's pretty bright on that one, you know. But, you know, you talk about Luke being out, you know, you need to take a look at that hit also when the guy lowers his head on Luke, you know. So definition of the rule is the definition of the rule.
Yeah. Gracias.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll have a couple players here in just a minute. Okay, we're going to have 3 players today. Marquel Dismuke will be the first, and then we've got Collin Miller and Wan'Dale. So they're all here, actually, so we'll move through these guys pretty quick. But questions for Marquel? We will start with Brian Christofferson.
Hey, Markel. Coach Chinander was just talking about this when guys, you know, have the football or like a quarterback did, and Cam Taylor-Britt hit him and got ejected. How difficult is that as a defensive back now to play the game fast, but with the rules as they are, knowing what can happen? How challenging is that?
I mean, it's very challenging because it's a full speed contact sport. So when the quarterback decides just to fall down in the motion of a defensive back or a linebacker, somebody going to tackle him, that's already in motion. It's kind of hard to stop that motion when you're already in the motion. So, but you just basically got to keep practicing it on it and try to keep your head out of it. I mean, it's hard, but the rules change and we got to adjust with the rules.
Yeah, I was going to ask that as a follow-up. I mean, the rules are what they are. So what specifically can you guys do to work with that?
I mean, leverage, staying low, trying to keep your head out of it. And when it's a quarterback running the ball, just be cautious because you never know if they finna fall or keep running.
Thank you.
Sean Callahan.
Yeah, Marquel, I'm just curious, what is the level of motivation for you guys this week to play? I mean, obviously, last week was a bad taste in everyone's mouth with the loss to Minnesota. What is your guys' level of motivation to play a game this week?
Level of motivation? We still got football to play, so I think everybody still had that motivation to go out there and go do what they do. We all got a ball. We can't just give it up now. We still got one more game, so it's time to go even harder.
Steve Sipple, Journal-Star.
When you look back on your career, Marquel, how glad are you that you stuck around when you had to wait a while to be a prominent player in the program?
I mean, the way had nothing to do with anything. I mean, it's all about patience and being humble over the time. You learn that when you go to college, so it's not like I was eager to play, but I was eager to get better. And once I got better, I see I could play. So that all of that plays into a factor. But it's your time. It's not your time when you think it's your time, but it's going to be your time eventually.
How has this season been more enjoyable for you because you've been healthy? Compared to last year when you had to play through injury.
Yeah, it's been very enjoyable. I've been enjoying every game. Not to worry about.
Last year?
Yeah, it was kind of tough, but I can't dwell on the past.
Okay, thank you, Marquel.
You're welcome.
Andy Kendi, KETV.
Hey, Marquel, what kind of unique challenge is it to face Noah Vedral, knowing that he knows a lot of what you guys do, but yet you guys know his game as well, if he plays?
I mean, I don't think he's going to have any type of advantage because he still got to go out there and play football just like how we got to. He's going out there and studying our defense just like we're going out there and studying his offense. So it's all at the end of the day. It's still football at the end of the day.
Joe Nugent, WWT.
Hey, Marquel, I'm curious what Collin Miller has brought to the defense after the injury. Practices on the sideline. Tell me about what Collin's been doing here in the past few weeks.
Collin's been great. I thought he was going to be down, and sometimes with an injury like that, some people go into depression. But Collin's been great. He's been more enthusiastic as I ever seen him, and more into practice and more getting people ready on the sidelines and being the hype man and having all the energy. When the energy is low, he was bringing the energy. So I love him for that, to just keep going and keep having the love for the sport.
Couple more quick ones here. Mitch Sherman.
Hey, Marquel, what do you think that you guys have done, leaders on defense, older guys on defense, this year to set up Nebraska on that side of the ball for months and years ahead?
I mean, it's all about the example you put out there for the young ones to live up to and the expectations. What you expected to do in the culture that's in the locker room. So all of that plays a factor. So you got to set an example to the youngest. So when we leave, they have an example and what to live up to for the rest of the years and for them to teach the new guys that's coming under them.
Hail Varsity. Sorry. No. Okay, go ahead, Derek Peterson, Hail Varsity.
Hey, I wanted to go back to kind of the targeting thing for a second. Eric Chinander was talking about the alternative of like guys going low, guys hitting guys in the legs, risking ACL, ligament damage, things like that. As a player, like, is that something that you guys think about maybe not in the moment because it's such a split second thing, but do you like think about, okay, if I go low, I'm going to take out a guy's legs. I don't want my legs taken out, so I'm not going to do that.
Nah, we don't think about. I mean, I don't think about nothing like that because if we go high, you already know it's the rules change. That's a targeting too. So playing defense and tackling in today's day and age. Everything's got a rule, so you just got to watch out and hopefully when you tackle them, there's nothing to it.
So do you feel like you know how to tackle someone without getting flagged?
Even when you do feel like you know how to tackle someone and they still throw the flag, you still clueless of how you got that flag or how was it a targeting, even if you didn't think it was a targeting.
Last one for Marquel, Sam McEwen.
Yeah. What's the coldest game you've ever played in?
Coldest game. It's gonna be hard between Michigan State game and the Purdue game in 2017.
Yeah. Do you like that atmosphere? It's gonna be cold at Rutgers at night in December. You like that? You feel like it's a toughness test, anything like that?
I don't feel like it's a tough test. I mean, you feel it. I mean, but you feel it when it's hot too. So you still gotta play football at the end of the day.
Thank
you. You let the cold get to you, then you think about the wrong thing.
Some guys do let the cold get to them, though. You've seen that, I'm sure, in your career.
Yes, you see that a lot, and it affects their play. You can't let the cold affect your play. You just gotta go out there and ball. You gotta be the one to hit first, or you are gonna feel every bit of it.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Marquel. We'll have either Collin Miller or Wan'Dale next. Okay, Wan'Dale is here. So if you got questions for Wan'Dale, we'll do 4 or 5 questions for Wan'Dale, and then we've got Collin Miller waiting. So let's go Parker Gabriel, Journal-Star.
Hey, Wan'Dale, I know it's not clear if Noah's going to play on Friday, but what will it be like to see him and to have him on the other sideline?
It'll definitely be good to see him. I feel like I haven't seen him in a really long time, but it'll be a little bit different playing against him. Hopefully he's not really giving away anything, but it'll be really good to see him play, and I just hope he plays well. But hopefully we play well enough to win. So.
Scott talked a little bit about having to be careful with signals and all that. Has there been much of an adjustment this week in just knowing that one way or another, he's going to be over on the other side and he knows what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, we definitely know he'll know some things, but at the end of the day, we just have to just maneuver through everything and just kind of go with the flow and just really know and dial in on what our signals are from the sidelines and things like that. So,
Sean Callahan.
Hey, Wan'Dale, I'm just curious, what has been the level of motivation this week, just kind of knowing short week, bad loss last week? How have guys responded knowing that you're going on the road on a short week?
Guys responded well. We were surprised with the text on Sunday that we were playing that Friday. And so we just had to know that we had to come back to work tomorrow or the next day and ready to work and go get a W and end out on a good note. So that way we aren't thinking about this for the rest of the offseason. So.
The Athletic, Mitch Sherman.
Hey, Wan'Dale, you guys have obviously played fewer games this year. I mean, this is just number 8 as opposed to a regular season where you'd play 12. But with all that you've been through, going back to the summer, even before that. I'm just wondering what kind of a toll has this year taken, on you, on the team, and how do you think that will impact just like the amount of rest and recovery, mentally and physically, that you need after this season?
I definitely think they'll give us plenty enough time to rest. We were here for quite some time, but at the end of the day, we knew what we were getting ourselves into, and we knew that we wanted to come to work and just try to get better every day. And so, I mean, obviously, it took a big toll on our bodies just working out and practicing for so long. But at the end of the day, it was good for us, and we need the reps. We need everything that we can get, especially going into next year. So,
Is there a mental toll too? Just because it's been a different year. I mean, it's mid-December right now, and you guys have been at it in one way or another for 6 or 7 months.
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, you're not really in this mindset around this time normally. Even just playing 1 year of college, I didn't really expect to be playing right now. But I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to adapt, and that's just kind of how this year's been is with 2020. So.
Steve Sipple, Journal-Star.
Yeah, Wan'Dale, Turner Corcoran looks like he's going to be your starting left tackle. What kind of achievement is that for a true freshman to be in that position? And why do you have confidence in Corcoran?
I mean, he's shown that he can play the position at a high level. Our coaches have a lot of confidence in him. Watching him personally, I have a lot of really high on him coming in. And so obviously we thought he could make an impact and do something. So hopefully this week he really gets to show why he was a high priority for us and he can play some football. So.
Okay, thank you.
Two more for Wan'Dale. Jake Bartecki, KRNU.
Hey, Wan'Dale, I'm just curious. Last season, the night game at Illinois, you had probably what was the best game of your career. And just wondering, do you like playing at night more than in the day? Do you like kind of the primetime feel?
I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. Football is football for me at the end of the day. I mean, it kind of feels a little bit more like you're in high school, back to those Friday Night Light type things, but that's really about the only thing I could really compare it to. But it'll be a little bit like that. We'll be playing on a Friday, feel like you're back in high school, but no fans, so that's just the only thing. So.
Cool, thanks.
Wrap up Wan'Dale. Brian Christopherson, 24/7.
Wan'Dale, you had some teammates yesterday on here who said, regardless of the record, they think you guys are close. You're nodding your head. What do you think you get? How do you think you guys have set yourself up for 2021 through this kind of weird season, even though the record isn't what you want? Where do you feel you're at heading as a springboard into next year?
We've been through so much adversity. It's almost like next year everybody knows exactly what we need to do. Everybody, and with the guys that will be coming in, we have a standard already set of what needs to happen every week of practice, every game day, everything that needs to happen going on from here on forward, just to make sure that we're winning ball games and those close games that we've been in, those tight games, those come out on our side and not on the other way around. So this year it was just a big learning thing for a lot of us, especially being young, especially on the offensive side. But it allowed us just to really see with everything that's going on, and now next year that everybody knows what really has to happen every week in practice and games, and so on and so forth there.
Looking back, how much did it cripple this team that you didn't have the spring? And Scott Frost has talked a lot about, you didn't have those non-conference games. How much do you think that impacted things as some younger guys were kind of figuring stuff out as they went?
I definitely think that's a little tough, just from personal experience. I know if we didn't probably start out with South Alabama last year and we started out with a Big Ten game, I would have been in who knows what. I would have been frightened every other game after that. So especially your first Big Ten game, and that being your first game would be really, really hard to be a young guy, I feel. And so I just think it helps them a lot having this year under their belt and then going into next year. So.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Wan'Dale, and we'll finish up here in a minute with Collin Miller. Okay, we'll finish up players today with Collin Miller. And just a reminder, with the Friday game and signing day, we'll have Coach Frost tomorrow at 3 o'clock, probably for about 20 minutes or so. So we'll move on to Collin Miller. First question, Andy Kendi, KETV.
Hey, Colin. First, how are you doing physically, mentally? And number two, most of your teammates have commented how positive you've been able to stay throughout this ordeal. How have you been able to stay so positive?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a tough situation that happened against Illinois. Just want to thank you guys and all the fans for just reaching out to me individually and checking up on me with the prayers and the messages. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I came to Nebraska is just the people here around this state are just so welcoming with big hearts and open arms. And, you see an injury like this, and, I mean, I'm getting thousands of letters in the mail here at the stadium of people just wishing me the best. And guys like you and just on social media and stuff like that just, thanking me for everything and, wishing me nothing but the well-being and good health down the road and just checking up on me. So, yeah, just positivity all around from the fans and then the coaches and the players. My health's pretty good. I think a lot of the stuff that happened on Saturday against Illinois was precautionary. Just going to the hospital was a lot of precautionary things. Stayed overnight for precautionary reasons. But yeah, I'm doing much better than I was before. That's why I wanted to get back with the team pretty early because I knew that those guys would help, lift me up and put smiles on my face. And yeah, those are my guys to the end. So I just wanted to get back because they're going to do everything in their power to keep me happy, just like I'm trying to keep them happy and keep them motivated.
KLKN, Kelsey Casper.
Hey, Collin, could you just kind of go through what emotions you were feeling when you walked out of that tunnel on senior day on Saturday, kind of just with this season that you've had?
Yeah, so I was telling a lot of those seniors, a lot of those guys were trying to hold back tears. Yeah, I mean, just coming in here 5 years ago, I mean, it's unbelievable just how many things you face and different adversities that come around and how many people come and go and relationships you build just down the road that people you still talk to. And I mean, we probably walked that tunnel that we came out hundreds and hundreds of times. And that one I'll just remember for the rest of my life, just that last, tunnel walk there in Memorial Stadium. Yeah, I mean, still makes me feel a little emotional and wish I could just do it one more time. But, I mean, it was something that I'll remember for the rest of my life is just that period that I got to spend with DCAP and Stilly and all those other seniors that we've been through all these hard times with.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Colin, you kind of sound there in that answer like if you'll be back or if you'll go through that tunnel again. Is that right? You made that decision. How does this injury affect your opportunity to ever play football again? Whether it's at Nebraska or at the next level.
Yeah, definitely. Have a great staff here, a staff that, looks out for me, cares for me medically, physically, emotionally. These guys take care of me head to toe. They want me to be perfect down the road in my life and everything like that. So I talked to one neurologist, doctor that's with the staff, and he kind of gave me like the options and put everything out on the line that he thinks that it's probably not the best situation to come back and play football, depending on my health down the road. So I think that, looking at my MRIs and CT scans and all these other things that we've been through and just seeing things happen with my spine and looking down the road of my health, I think that I probably won't be coming back. I'll probably hang up the cleats for good, just for health reasons and just make sure that I'm able to throw a football with my kid down the road or, drive my own car down the road or, take a shower on my own and feed myself on my own. I mean, it was a scary situation on Saturday. Against Illinois, it was very scary. Feelings I've never felt before.
yeah, I mean, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. But I mean, we have great staff on this team that, wants my best interests and wants my best, for me and for my family and my future. So I think it's just best part for me is probably just to, while I can still walk on my own and talk on my own and do things on my own, probably just to, hang up the cleats.
How what kind of emotions does that bring out in you to just have it all? I mean, I'm sure I know you're grateful that you have those abilities still, but to have your your football taken away from you like that. I mean, you had, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had aspirations to play, beyond this year, correct?
Yeah, I mean, growing up as a little kid, that's always been my goals, was to play football for as long as I could. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it got taken away from me, but I mean, one thing about Nebraska is, they treat you like a NFL team out here. I mean, they treat you like a celebrity, and so I could kind of say that I played and fulfilled those, achievements I wanted to reach playing for the great state of Nebraska. But yeah, it was a fun run.
Couple more quick ones. Sam McEwen.
You got the coaching bug, Collin. I mean, the last 3 weeks, especially being on the sidelines, not being able to play, but knowing everything that's going on in the game. Is coaching something you want to begin to pursue?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely down, on my notes that I've always wanted to do down after football was coach and see where that could take me. And, I love football. I love the game of football. I love the environment football brings, and I'm a big competitor. So, yeah, I'm just taking it one day at a time, just see where that leads me to.
Thank you.
Parker Gabriel, Journal Star.
Well, for the moment, we'll ask you to put the coaching hat on here with the team that you're still with. What did you think of the way that Nick, I know he's bounced around inside and outside, but what did you think of his ability to sort of jump back in the inside linebackers room after you went down, and how did you think he played against Minnesota last week?
Yeah, Nick's a fighter. I think I've said that in a couple press conferences with you guys that, I mean, that kid is constantly in the film room and in the meeting room and, trying to be the last one on the practice field, hitting the sled while everyone else is walking off the field, or working on his footwork while everybody else is walking on the field. I mean, it was just a matter of time before he was actually going to get in and contribute on the full defense and not just special teams. But I think for his first game, he did amazing things. I mean, he was flying around. He was making TFLs. He was playing with a lot of emotion, and guys were thriving off him and feeling his energy. So I think that it's only up for him. Yeah, I mean, that kid's a stud. He does the things the right way that Nebraska wants. Yeah, good future for that kid.
And we'll finish up with Collin. Brian Christopherson, 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Collin, I know fans are disappointed with the wins, losses, and I know you guys are too in the recent years. But where do you think this program is, right now as it heads into 2021? I know you put so much into it and you care so much about it. Where do you see it right now? What direction is it going, and just kind of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got the right guys in this stadium and in this room that can win a lot of football games. And, I mean, you take away 3 and 4 plays, offense, defense, special teams, you just take away 3 full plays on all those games. I think that we win a lot of these games. So I don't think that our win and loss ratio that you guys see is what's happening in the stadium. And what's going on in this locker room is a lot of guys that are just wanting just to get this place back to what it needs to be. And, a lot of guys that are trying to put in the extra work that needs to be done to get this place to where it needs to be. Yeah, I mean, we just know that we're so close. If we just take away those 3 and 4 plays that happen in each game, setting the front wrong, or not picking up a block on offense, or, not getting the turnover on special teams when the ball drops right in front of us. I mean, we're so close that it could change in a blink of an eye. So I think that a lot of these guys, that they come in every day to the stadium and, you know, they just want to perfect their craft. They want to just keep working. I don't think there's one person in here that's hanging their head or dreading coming into the stadium. I think it's a lot of guys that are just ready and are hungry, and they just know that they want to get this place to where it needs to be.
Thank you, Collin.
All right. Thank you, Colin. And thanks, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.